Welcome to Chatter, where we discuss what matters. And today we are dealing with a topic that many of us, I believe, struggle with. It's a small word, but it means so much. And we're going to deal with boundaries today. We're going to talk about boundaries. That's what matters. It should in our lives. Boundaries, okay? So, ladies, I have a definition I want to put out there. A boundary is a limit or space between you and the other person, a clear space where you begin and the other person ends. The purpose of setting a healthy boundary is, of course, to protect and take good care of you. And what stood out to me in that definition was clear. Because my struggle has always been making a boundary. Because for so long, I didn't have boundaries. I didn't have any boundaries. I didn't even know what boundaries were. I didn't even know I should have boundaries. I could impose them. I could stand by them. And it didn't make me a bad person. So I had to get through that psychology of boundaries are good. So once I got through that psychology, which it took me years, because when you're doing something new, I know for me, I had to unlearn what I learned. And my grandma and my mama was such a giver. They gave of themselves. So they had no boundaries. And everyone just praised them. So, in your family, that's a pretty picture.
Right, yeah.
There was a lot of people talking at their funerals. So, I'm thinking they were good people.
Yeah.
But they had no boundaries. But it served them. So I had to unlearn boundaries are good. Once I learned that, I learned Joe set boundaries. So I want to ask you all, what do you struggle with? Number one, if you have boundaries. And if you do, if you believe you should have boundaries, do you struggle with making the boundary or keeping the boundary? Lyd?
Okay, well, I'm going to say, yes, I believe in boundaries. I'm learning more about boundaries.
Yeah.
I have a struggle with keeping boundaries.
Okay.
So definitely that's something I'm working on, especially like family, because as you said, like our family all live close to each other, like the New York family, they all live in Brownstone together. The other side of the family all live like, streets, but, next to each other. And so they're in and out. And if you need, like literally, I could stay at my aunt's house 7 days and she probably wouldn't even know I was there. It's like not a big deal. And so my family struggles with boundaries. And so I allow those things I allow stuff to happen to me. And I don't protect myself enough. So I'm learning, and over the past 2 years, I've started setting boundaries, and you find out people's character.
Yes, ma'am.
When you start setting boundaries, because I used to be the favorite of some people, but because I started setting boundaries, I'm no longer in that same space. So it goes back to, being the sucker. Being the sucker. So, but learning that the boundaries are for me and that it's okay to set those boundaries, and also teaching my kids that it's okay for them to have boundaries. Like one good one is, with our kids, it's like, oh, hug Uncle Joe. Uncle Joe's here, hug him. Now I'm like, if my child is going like this, no, I'm not going to teach you that it's okay for someone to touch your body and you don't want to.
And you're uncomfortable.
You know what I'm saying? And so
right.
I'm trying to teach them that, and I'm trying to also keep boundaries with my kids, even though they're still kind of young. But I don't want to repeat the same thing my parents did and make me feel guilty for having boundaries. Because me and my parents are at that little point where, they understand it now, but they make little sly comments about calling first before leaving the state to come to my house. Like just popping up like from another state, So I'm trying not to be that with my kids, So I really pay attention to what I'm doing.
Okay, so your struggle was
Did you just pop up at your parents' house? Would you just pop up at their house?
So I'm petty, so I do it to my mom just to show her how it feels. So there's times, and I did it one time, and she was in Jacksonville. I popped up all the way to tell her, because I'm gonna show you how it feels. And I'm knocking, and she's like, girl, I'm in Jacksonville with such and such. And I was like, so that backfired on me. But no, it's like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, different states. Y'all live in different states. I was just thinking, when I was living in the same city, I did not call my parents.
Yeah, I did.
Did you?
When my parents, I literally lived around the corner from them, like walking distance. And if I was going to go up and see my mother, I'd be like, hey, mom, I'm finna come up for a second. Or, hey, I'm going to go to the store. You need something. Like, I wouldn't just be like, here I am.
So do you have a problem with making boundaries or keeping your boundaries?
Oh, definitely making them.
Yeah.
Definitely making them. Once I make it, then I'm good because I've gone through all of the steps in it mentally. The whole I feel bad part, the whole maybe I shouldn't do it, the whole they don't. So once I've been burnt enough,
okay,
like it takes a lot for me to set that boundary for someone. But once it's set, it's good. So I just don't know when to set it.
Yeah,
it takes a while to set it. It takes a while to set it.
You D, making or keeping the boundary? Keeping. Yeah.
Because I set all kind of boundaries in my head.
Yeah.
And I'll do good for a while, and then I was just sitting. Y'all had me sitting up here thinking maybe my family got some boundaries.
I can see
like my brain starts spinning because I wish my mama would tell me I couldn't come to her house, or that she was busy, or.
So you don't have a problem with that?
I'm coming anyway.
Yeah, that might be. Yeah.
And so like.
So if your mother was to say no, D, I'm
mentally exhausted for the day.
No.
I just can't do it right now.
Well, I'm gonna come sit on the sofa.
So you don't have a problem.
And I never even thought about that.
Recognizing boundaries.
So you don't have a problem.
I didn't even think about that.
Wow.
When it comes to my parents, like I call and tell them, I inform them that I'm coming.
Well,
I don't ask.
Boundaries. We don't want to give it a negative connotation.
Yeah.
Because sometimes boundaries don't have to be there. So the boundaries don't have to be there with your parents. I would never, when my mommy was living, I would never call to see if she was there.
No.
Now if she wasn't even there, I had a key to the house. So sometimes
I'm just gonna go in there and sit over there till she get back.
I had a key, but
I think it's different too.
Let me just say this.
Let me say this. So my grandparents' house, I would drive from Tallahassee to High Springs, just pop up with my grandparents all the time, from Fort Lauderdale to High Springs, because they weren't doing nothing. Like grandma and grandpa wouldn't have no romantic this and that. But I ain't doing that. Like you want your mama to show up, you and Tony, you don't got no kids for the weekend, and you and Tony home for the weekend. Your mama like, oh, they don't got kids. Me and Willie gonna pop up.
Okay, no, my parents would not because we live in two different places.
But like think about it like that. So like
when we lived around the corner from them, they didn't always call. They just come and you see the car out the yard. One of the kids be like, "Papa outside," and you open the door, or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, let them in.
Yeah. So in my family, there aren't any boundaries. Those are being newly created. You know what I'm saying? With the pop-up thing. And again, I think it may be different. If my mom lived in the same neighborhood, I'd probably just stop by. If I see her car out there, I'm gonna just stop and not call and just go in. But I think it goes with, I don't think she's doing nothing. Yeah. Like if she had a whole man or something, maybe I'd be like, we outside.
I was gonna say,
you understand people's lifestyle. You understand people's lifestyle and what their daily routine is. Yeah. So it's nothing. But if your mom is dating and things, so I understand. So make it or keep it.
Keep it. Remember I said keep it.
You said keep it?
Okay, so let me keep it. What's yours? You said making.
Mine was definitely making because I didn't know that I could. So I'm making. Okay, so another thing I want to read, and I think this is so true, as we all are believers. Christians often focus so much on being loving and giving that they forget their own limits and limitations. Have you ever found yourself wondering, can I set limits and still be a loving person? How do I answer someone who wants my time, my love, my energy, or money? And why do I feel guilty when setting boundaries? I did struggle with that for a long time. Because let me tell you where the struggle was. As a Christian, the Bible says, and Jesus said it too, you're supposed to deny yourself. So those two words haunted me for a long time. Because I looked at that, I'm supposed to deny myself. So I'm supposed to give you my time and my energy and my money and what have you, because I'm supposed to deny myself. They teach in the Christian faith that joy means Jesus, others, and yourself. Oh, wow. So that's when you have joy, is when you put Jesus first, others second, and yourself first, yourself last. So I struggled for a long time with, am I still being a Christian? When I'm not preaching today. I'm not preaching Sunday. I'm tired. I'm not a full-time preacher. I worked all day. Find somebody else. I struggled with that for a while because of those two words, deny yourself.
Yeah.
So I think as Christians, you know, it took me having that personal relationship with God. And he telling me, you're okay. You can only go but this far. And, you know, I heard him say to me, and on the seventh day, I rest. Rest is allowed in the Christian faith.
You think it just, once you got 40 and them bones start cracking and stuff, you had to sit down somewhere?
I think I overextend myself. I
Yeah.
think I overstretch myself. And like I said, I struggled with those two words until I said, you know what? This can't be God because I don't feel good. And not good like I need to feel good, but I'm thinking, I know what he meant, deny yourself, but I know God is love, light, and life. Don't none of this I'm doing feel like love, light. So I had to come to a conclusion like, okay, what does this mean and how can you apply it here? So even though I'm supposed to deny myself, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm supposed to ignore myself.
That's a
yes,
good
that's a
one.
big
I
difference.
like the way you said
You know, I'm not supposed to ignore that I am tired. I am suffering from
Yeah.
fatigue. I am suffering from depression. I can deny something, but I can't ignore. So I struggle with that as a Christian. So, you know, does your Christianity sometimes force you sometimes to feel guilty about saying no?
I know for me it did. It's like I feel like I have a heart of service and that's what I want to do, but even people who are in need take advantage. So you have to you do have to do that, and you do have to kind of reconcile that with yourself and be okay with it yourself, because you're the one. I had to say, I created this. Like when I'm running from place to place like a fool, I said, I did this to myself.
Yes.
Yeah.
And why am I treating myself like that?
Yes.
So I started, even if someone says, hey, can you get on the phone real quick? You know, can we talk about this, blah, blah, I'll say yes from 4 to 5, because that's when I'm driving home.
Yes.
Because at 5 to 6 is my time to do CrossFit. I need that every single day. And so I even had people that I had to train to respect me, because they would still call at 5:30. I wouldn't answer, wouldn't call back to the next day. Between what hours? Between 4 and 5. Because and I'm training you how to teach me.
Yeah, come on now.
And so even someone called me the other day who we went to FAM together, and I want to help her with this, thing she's putting on. And I had to be honest with her and say, I appreciate you thinking of me. However, I cannot do anything else.
Okay.
And so I had to kind of script it to be prepared for when people ask me to do something, to be an easy letdown because of my guilt for saying no. And it goes back to me giving, I don't got a lot of money to be donating here or there, but I have time. So that's how, and now I'm being stingy with my time, so I had to deal with that.
Yeah. Your Christianity made you feel guilty when you was...
Sure it did. Sure it is. Christianity, how I was raised, something did, but I definitely felt guilty about because I defined myself by giving and doing. That was like the whole, who is Tasha? I give. That's what I do.
Okay.
I help people. That's what I do.
Okay.
So, from our previous topics that we've discussed, when we talked about mental health, when I started talking to my therapist, she asked me what did I like, and I had to give to myself. I had to say, so Tasha, what do you like other than helping people? And I really couldn't answer it. So definitely that defined who I am. So I did struggle, and I had to realize I had to learn all over again and learn how to set boundaries and learn how to put Tasha first and learn what it is. So definitely it did. Yes.
Yeah. I think it's, and I think it's so, and I think it's sad. And let me tell you what I have found. Sometimes people know that about you, and they try to manipulate you.
Yeah.
So they feel like, I can come. Well, that was the old Joe. Now they wouldn't try it. Like, no Monday, no Tuesday. So it's not going to change. But yeah, I can definitely see wherein people have they can use that. If they find that you're that type of person, they can use it. And I like what you said about writing a script.
Yeah.
Because I have to do that. I have to practice in my head. Number one, because it's so new to me, and I don't want to get off track, and I want to make sure I have my point across. And number two, violating my boundary, even though you may not know it. Sometimes it's a trigger for me, because I think you're taking advantage, and you may not even know what's going on in my head. So if I learn how to convey this or communicate this clearly, I'm good. So like you, I have prepared how to say no properly, where I feel good and you feel good.
Yeah.
Do you ever struggle with your Christianity and saying no and stuff like that? And
No, my Christianity, no. just
Feeling
friendships and feeling guilty
Yeah.
and like I'm not a good person. I was sitting up thinking, I think my bigger issue was I had to stop feeling like people were, because when you were talking about the manipulation, it made me think of some stuff like I would be mad at somebody after I felt guilty about it. I would be mad for them for violating my boundary when they didn't even know.
That's
Yeah, that's what she was saying.
So that was the clarity of making sure
Yes.
you're clear. These people are clear. Sometimes people don't even know.
No. But if I told you, you
But
didn't
did
know.
I tell you? You know, like,
I
did I
told her.
really? Oh, okay. Well, did I tell you? Not that people are gonna respect it, but did I do my part?
Yeah.
Or did I assume that you should know? Because I used to do a lot of assuming because of my personality. I sometimes assume that people know, like, this person should know that this ain't okay.
Yeah.
But everybody don't think like you think.
So let me ask a question. I have a quick question. Other than like what we just talked about, just kind of showing up at somebody's house, unexpected appearance or whatnot. What are some clear-cut boundaries that you have? As my goal is to make boundaries, I can use a little bit of help.
I was kind of thinking of where I had some boundaries.
I need you to help me. What boundaries do I need to
what
make?
clear
What are some
cut
good
boundaries
ones? Yeah.
I make with my? I have my own business, and I am not under no circumstances writing grants for my friends. I'm not doing it because yes. Because let me tell you why.
Yeah.
If you don't get the proposal, I'm going to feel bad. And even though I know you understand what the process is, me writing a proposal does not automatically guarantee the grant, I'm still going to feel bad.
Why?
Because I still have to look at you and I'm just not doing it. I don't want to do business
So that
with
kind
my
of goes
friends.
into the other thing of not telling people till it's out of your brain or something?
No, it just
'Cause I'm
goes in the
thinking-
fact that I just don't want money to ever come between me and my friends.
Okay.
And since I don't know how to,
You don't know how that person's gonna react.
yeah,
You
and
don't
I
wanna
just
take
so
a chance.
and so no business. Now, if I want to do it for you for free, that's fine. But I'm not going to do business with my friends. I've seen it blow up in their face. Now, that's not to say I'm not going to loan you my talent or my gifts when you need it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's not going to be a business.
It's not gonna be a
transaction.
grant.
So that's one of mine. I'm not doing business with my friends as far as a business transaction. I would,
Okay. Well, mine is lending money to family or friends. Like, I lend it with the thought in mind, I'm not going to get it back. So if I give you anything,
You're not expecting.
I'm not going to expect it back. That's how I have to now. If it's more than I can give, then the answer will be no. Like if I need it back, you're not going to
you
get
can't
it.
get it.
Yeah.
Right.
You're not gonna get
That
it.
makes sense. Okay.
So money is definitely because I will feel kind of sour about that, and it won't be the person. The person be still fine and just thinking, and I will have some issue with you because it's like, I'm a working class person, single parent, like all those things, So for me, it feels different because if you needed it, then just say, I need it and I don't think I can give it back.
Yeah.
But even though I've lent it to you with the thought I'm not going to get it back, and I lent it to you knowing I didn't need it back, but then if you don't say nothing to me about it or give it back, you act like it ain't never happened, now I'm having a problem with you.
Yes.
So the way I handle that is it'll just be if someone close to me, it'll be given to them, but it's also a conversation. Like, you ask me for this makes me uncomfortable, especially with certain people. I do have certain people that I know if they ask, it's because they really need it, and we have that relationship or whatever the case may be, and it may come with a conversation. Don't worry about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I have a lot of proud friends, and if they ask, it's because they really need it.
Yeah.
But for some people that think they could just ask, I guess that's the thing. I let them know how it makes me feel that you're asking, because a lot of times
I like the fact that you add. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I like the fact that you say this makes me feel a certain kind of way, because a lot of times I don't think we do a good job of sharing our feelings.
Yeah.
We people, like you said, we kind of keep all of it. We just assume that you're supposed to know.
Yeah.
So I like the fact that you start with, I'm feeling a little uncomfortable.
Yes.
Okay.
And so that's basically it, just having that conversation or whatever the case may be with those people that fall in that category. You know what I'm saying? That's asking. You done went to brunch because it's on Facebook. You went to brunch for 3 weeks straight and posted on Facebook. Now you asking for money to pay your light bill when I ain't got my nails done because I'm putting my money aside.
Right.
Yeah.
okay, we're gonna have a conversation about that. You know what I'm saying? But that goes with boundaries too.
Yes,
I can get into that boundaries thing.
So what do you?
I can't really think. I'm thinking more so. I had to stop. Like I would overextend myself for people, and then there would not be reciprocity, and I would be mad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for me, it became not necessarily something that I had to be clear with them. I had to be clear with myself. Okay, this is gonna stress me too much, so I can't do it.
Yeah. Okay.
And saying no.
Yeah.
That word no. No,
Yeah.
I can't do it.
No.
I love that part because I
Yeah.
had that. I said that a few days ago. I was like, yeah, this is an easy task, but adding that to my plate right now,
It's gonna be too much.
going to stress me out. I said, I feel anxious talking to you about it.
Yeah.
So I will help you find someone else to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, another boundary I said,
Yeah.
I gotta just tell y'all this because it may be rude or sound bad, but I've set a boundary with our clear brothers and sisters with children because they don't have boundaries, right? I feel like certain groups are have a sense of entitlement, like everything belongs to them.
Okay.
So lately at a place I go and there is,
Yeah.
mixed, yes.
It's multiracial.
And there are some younger people, and they have a habit of just taking your stuff. So you pull out your equipment, pull out your stuff. They'll just grab it and take it as their own, or start using it as their own. So I've started bending down to their level. Oh, sweetheart, that one isn't yours. Would you like me to show you where to find your own?
Yeah.
To children now, because no, I'm going to teach you that this is not all
Okay.
yours, because you're
about to
walking in
say
a
that.
sense of privilege. So
Yes.
I've also set boundaries with. Instead of saying in my mind,
They're
hey,
just
you guys,
children.
it's okay, these are just kids.
Right.
No, because you need to start learning now, because your
Yeah,
parents
that's not
aren't
yours.
teaching you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's teaching.
Boundaries are necessary. I think they're necessary because at the end of the day, what you want to do, you want to feel good about yourself. And one of the things I don't want to do, and I got tired of disappointing Joanne.
Yes.
I got tired of, at the end of the day, I really didn't want to do that. I really didn't want to say that. So I'm learning to create boundaries and keep them. But I think we just need to do a good job, and we need to make sure that we are creating and keeping these boundaries. Because at the end of the day, it's all we have is ourselves.
Yeah.
And we have to take care of each other. And so many people depend on us. Your children, your children,
Yeah.
your children,
Yeah.
the people that I minister to. So many people depend on us. So don't feel bad about boundaries. Set them. Make sure they're clear and they're cut. Keep them. You may struggle with them at first, but then understand you're not a bad person. And another gauge I could tell about people when I set boundaries, like I said, you can really see their character. I'm like, So I'm glad I said no to you because now I see who you really are.
Yeah.
I see you.
I see you. So no is a good thing, and setting boundaries is an excellent thing because sometimes you get to see people like, okay, you just made that really easy. You ain't getting a Christmas card.
Not the Christmas
No
card.
Christmas card for you. Yeah. So
Let me ask
boundaries are
this.
good.
Let me ask this. You two are single. Boundaries with your men. Is that a whole nother topic? Because I think about in my dating years, and this may have to go into something else.
It needs to.
It need to go into something. Okay, well, we'll do another
yeah,
episode.
yeah.
But I was just wondering about boundaries with your mates. Because we didn't really cover that.
I think you could flip it to on married women because I can see
I know,
with those. I can see with those boundaries would flirt, would merge.
Yeah.
Even would be harder for us, or just as hard, but for a different reason than for them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And
So that's interesting. That's
yeah,
you're
that might
right.
be a
That's a
whole
whole
nother
other chatter, right?
As another one, you said something else that I want us to dig into more. You said something about a trigger.
Okay.
And I want us to cover that more.
So you want us to cover it now, or do you want us to cover it later?
Well, we can't cover it now.
Okay, I'm just asking.
So we can just have like a
So
part B.
as we
what I'm
end this episode of Chatter, I guess, some things just evolve since it's so natural and organic. Trigger, at its birth, triggers were born, okay?
Yeah.
Triggers. So now we're about to have this conversation. Now we're about to chat about triggers and how that plays a part in boundary making. So we're going to talk about triggers, and we're going to continue this episode of Chatter where we discuss things that matter. And I hope you enjoyed boundaries. And don't forget, ladies, to set your boundaries. And also, we want to hear from you. What are your boundaries? Do you have problems making them or keeping them? What boundaries have been violated, and how do you feel about that? As you engage with us, you'll find us on all social media platforms as Chatter. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hey, y'all.